breaking news coming in at 1 p.m. this afternoon. India has lodged a complaint with the Pakistan Ministry of Foreign Affairs over the drones that were seen hovering over the Indian mission in Islamabad. A formal complaint, I beg your pardon, has been launched with the Pakistan government. This drone was spotted above the Indian mission on the same day as the Jammu drone attack. And now India has lodged a formal complaint with the Pakistan government on the same. Niranjan is joining us live from the newsroom. Niranjan, what more are you picking up?
Well, it's a story that is being broken by Abhishek Kapoor, our senior executive editor. Let's try and get him on the phone line because it's a big development. What's also significant is that this happened on the day the airbase was attacked by drones. The Jammu airbase was attacked by drones. This was a Sunday, the 26th, and on the same day we are hearing that there was a drone sighting over the Indian mission in Islamabad. Now that's a big development. It's a big escalation. It's a much bigger escalation than we thought it was. Abhishek, we are hearing from the information that you've just shared with our newsrooms that India has lodged a formal complaint. When was this complaint lodged?
Niranjan, a diplomatic protest has been lodged with the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which is called Note Verbal. And our mission lodged this complaint with Pak Mufa immediately after that incident happened. In fact, a social event, we are told by sources, was going on inside the compound on the residential side when the drone was spotted hovering right inside the compound and over the event. It went out immediately on being spotted. So I think it seems a case of surveillance, but then a complaint has been lodged. We are awaiting an official response or a statement from the Ministry of External Affairs, which could happen later in the day. But incidentally, so it happened on the same day that the Jammu drone attack also happened. So whether it was coordinated, whether it was just someone playing tricks, but what is important is that India has taken it seriously, and our mission in Islamabad, where this incident happened, has lodged a formal complaint with the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs as well. Niranjan.
This is a big development, Abhishek. Sriram Cholia is on the phone line. Sriram, this was hours before the Jammu airbase was attacked. We are told that, and Abhishek is picking up details, that a drone was sighted over the Indian mission. It is a big escalation.
Yes, Niranjan, they are using these devices not only to violate our sovereignty and to carry out terror attacks, but clearly for surveillance. And, our embassies, our consulates are well protected by the Vienna Convention. As per international law, you cannot use such instruments, either human or technological devices, to snoop on premises. These are sacrosanct. Of course, every country monitors the embassies and high commissions, but this kind of thing is kind of intimidating because they could use this. The next step could be, could they even attack physically our diplomatic premises? I mean, this is taking it to a new low. So it's good that we are protesting it. And frankly, embassies and high commissions and consulates are extensions of the sovereignty of India abroad. So these are sovereign spaces. So just as their drones, if they are coming into up to Jammu and they are able to carry out attacks, that's a clear violation of sovereignty. It's against international law. Likewise, our premises abroad, our missions abroad are actually sovereign territories, extensions of our country there, and they ought to be respected. And I think if they are refusing to do that, if they're trying to harass us or intimidate us or simply, show off some new technology that they think can browbeat us, they have got the wrong idea. And reciprocal measures have to be also taken. I mean, if they resort to this more often, then I'm not saying we should have drones on the Pakistani High Commission in Delhi. What I'm saying is that, we should do démarches. It's required. We should expel some of the diplomats. We should take forceful retaliatory measures so that it raises the cost and also exposes what they're doing to the international community.
Thank you for that, Sriram Cholia. Let me go across also to Colonel Rohit Dev is joining us on the phone line. Colonel Rohit Dev goes on to show this, risk of drones, the fact that there was a breach over the Indian mission. Now, Pakistan can argue saying whatever, but the fact is, it's a bigger threat than we thought initially it was.
Right. I agree with you totally there. Now, see, under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, it is very clear that there's a dual responsibility which the host nation has to provide security of the embassy. Right. There can be the country's own charge d'affaires can also arrange for security as an additional dual measure. But the primary responsibility under this convention is of the host country. And for Pakistan to allow in sensitive areas of the embassies to have drones flying unaccounted for and to seek some kind of a plausible deniability to say that we don't know who did it, we're trying to find out, is something which speaks volumes about the kind of, the mayhem which the security agencies are today orchestrating in Pakistan themselves. It is not a standoff case that you can come to an embassy area and fly a drone. There are strict no-fly zones to be earmarked. So I'm quite sure this is some kind of a complicity or some kind of a messaging to scare our, diplomats there and the staff with the charge d'affaires there. And we should not take it lying down. I'm happy that this has been reported, but it has to be taken up also through the diplomatic channels to, represent this as per the Vienna Convention as well. So I think India should not take this kind of an attitude by Pakistan lying down anymore. And there has to be a harsher measure diplomatically to call it out. And I'm quite sure even countries like US and UK who are operating their embassies in Pakistan, one is aware, they have an additional court of their own security, their systems, and a lot of second and third tier breaches to the gates and the walls which they cater themselves because they can't rely on such a country actually. So I'm quite sure our country also does not rely on them entirely. But having said that, the host country's responsibility cannot be taken off just because it is happening in Pakistan. Pakistan needs to be, isolated on this issue. And I'm quite sure there will be many other countries who will step up because if the drone is flown over the Indian embassy only, it's a different issue and a much more, damaging kind of activity. But if it's flown over a couple of embassies there, they should get together and try to put Pakistan on the diplomatic mat here. And we should be absolutely resounding in echo insofar as the modern states and democracies are concerned that we can't be threatened in a host nation just because they want to create a fear in our charge d'affaires and the staff there. That is absolutely uncalled for. It is highly impolite, and it shows how the system there is complicit to allow such a thing to happen. I will not say or give a charade to say that somebody must have flown it. I am 100% sure this is a tactics employed. Somebody has flown it with complicity of the Pakistani security agency, and they need a tight slap on their face for this particular incident.
It's bizarre. I mean, how do you think India should take this up internationally? Because this is turning out to be a menace. And the drone threat is something that most countries around the world are looking at very carefully because this is a technology that is evolving, a threat that is real, and something that we are facing given our long borders with Pakistan, the line of control and the international border. And it's a very serious threat.
Coming to the short point of the current embassy issue first, I believe that this is one kind of a vital point which we have in Pakistan, which we need to secure ourselves as well. So we should take permission, put the pressure, and put the best anti-drone surveillance system and the detection system there which is available for the small part. It also goes to show very clearly that Pakistan is incapable of providing the due security to the embassies around. It will create a flutter there amongst the other embassies and all. The charge d'affaires there must take it up with the other diplomats in vicinity as well to call out in unison that this is a problem. And at the higher level, I believe the messaging has to be very clear, and you must invoke the Vienna Convention to call out Pakistan. The other threat which you are talking about, which is remaining towards the Jammu, Harispura, Arnia area, it's a live threat. It's not going away anywhere. And if you find out, and we are finding out through various resources now that the links go to Pakistan, I believe it's a high time for a punitive action firstly. It's high time for even a response mechanism, a sort of an SOP, which calls out. It says if you fly from your territory, any drone which crosses the border security post of the Indian BSF or the Army post and is flying on a flight path, not only we will try and destroy that drone, but we will have a speculative fire from the origin place as well. So there is high time some indirect fire is pumped back into Pakistan for a long time, Ranjan, because we have seen Arispura, Arnia, civil population getting hit by RT fire, mortar fire. So I think it's time to call a spade a spade. If something emanates from that unholy soil, which is causing a fear in my people, my population here and citizens, I better retaliate in a more, cogent manner, and also a manner which gives a punch on the nose very clearly. So I think it needs to be called out on these two aspects, and I'm very sure the Indian Army and the Air Force are quite ready, and probably the Army more so, with all kinds of indirect fires, whether it's artillery or the air or whatever to be used. And why can't we use the same token to give it back to them at Sialkot and other places? So time is to think out of the box, and let the Army do that. I'm quite sure they're doing a lot there, the Army and the Air Force in Jammu. And they have been assessing this threat of drones for the last about a decade now. And whatever wargaming one has attended, this has been a live threat there. It is now manifested. So it is high time that, it is brought to bear now as per a military might and diplomatic might, and all kinds of sanctions can be imposed. Going back to the embassy, I think a message has to go today itself. It's been already, I hear about 6 or 7 days now. The message has to be very clear. The charge these affairs must get more people on board to make the right point and noises in this field. That is a prerequisite requirement for this coming week to end, and we must do that and call out Pakistan.
I agree with you there. Let me get in General G.D. Bakshi as well. General Bakshi, pretty sure it wasn't a made in Pakistan drone. It was pretty sure it was a made in China drone. And all the drones that Pakistan uses could be Chinese drones that they perhaps trade off with China for whatever, for land, for donkeys, whatever it is. But the thing is, it's a bigger threat, right? And they're sort of really pushing their luck a bit far with drone intimidation. General Bakshi.
Absolutely right you are, Niranjan. They don't have any bloody drones of their own. They are getting it from China. 50 drones they got. They've also gotten drones from Turkey. And Turkey has infused them and China has encouraged them now to go hell for leather and try and repeat an Armenia-Azerbaijan type conflict in which Pakistan is seeing vainglorious dreams of bringing India to its knees by a drone offensive. They deserve a kick on their backsides to wake them up, right? Because we had given them a kick in Balakot, 22 months they kept quiet. Once again, the Chinese and Turkish prodding, this idiotic country is again trying to flex muscles. It just refuses to learn. 4 times it has been beaten on the battlefield. 30 years they tried asymmetric terrorist warfare, failed. Now it thinks it has got a new solution, cheap solution, and it is a cheap solution. A drone costs just 10,000 rupees to 20,000 rupees, the quadcopter commercially available in the market. So they want to put us in a defensive defense trade jacket that we will spend crores to get millimeter wave radars, high-powered lasers, and kinetic guns to sort of defeat the drone. Whereas they spend just 10, 20, 30,000, a few lakhs, and they inflict in disproportionate damage. The writing is on the wall. How can we react to it defensively? I mean, I fail to understand. You have to hit back. And we have started hitting back. I see no reason to change that policy just because the democratic dispensation is there in United States and it wants you to talk peace with Pakistan. We are not compelled to oblige, you see. Especially if they are going to use that peace to kill our citizens. Not only have the drones come over Jammu, struck the Jammu airfield. Every day they are flying over Jammu. This nonsense has to be put an end to. This nonsense has to be put an end to.
Yeah, but look at the kind of intimidation tactics, right? I mean, like you mentioned, they can't really challenge us militarily, diplomatically. They're completely outnumbered, and these sort of behind the back silly tactics, which hovering a drone over the mission, using drones to sort of carry these small parcels of explosives, which can be lethal. Of course, it can be lethal. We're not underplaying that, but it's really sort of sinister tactics. Backdoor, almost covered like isn't it?
Hold on. Sorry. Yes, Niranjan, let me assure you that this was started by the ISIS in Iraq and Syria. There was a Bangladeshi engineer, electronics engineer, who had joined them. And he is the chap who had first rejigged their drones to, re-rigged their drones to drop IED. Now, the drones that came over Jammu airfield had, can you please shut up? Sure.
Bakshi, yeah, thank you. Thank you, General Bakshi, for speaking to Republic TV. Let me see if we can go back to Gursimran, also joining us live. Gursimran is with us. Gursimran, it was hours before. Okay, I think Sriram Chola is also joining us live. It was hours before. We are told it was hours before the attack on the Jammu airbase. Gursimran?
See, Niranjan, this is really a serious concern because for the past 7 days we are talking of what exactly this threat can be, and it can be so damaging that not only the vital arm installation but vital installations in Pakistan, they are not even safe. I spoke to some of the persons. They said that the area is under the army, but it is a restricted flying zone. So what was the drone exactly doing in the restricted flying zone in Islamabad? This is the question that Pakistan needs to answer, and it is the high time that India has already taken up the issues with the MEA, but it's the high time for the global community to take up the issues with the issue with the Pakistan, that they have to mend their ways. It won't be working. We have seen Pakistan has always been abetting and sponsoring terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir, but now the Indian High Commission